When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend. Make we talk, people. When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk.
Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. I have with me my good friend, Mr. Lloyd de Aguilar. He is a human rights activist. His anti-corruption group called for boycott of elections in Jamaica. So Lloyd, welcome to the Make We Talk program.
Thanks for having me, Jeffrey.
You see what is going on in the parliament, Lloyd?
Yes, it was the highlight of the day, the presentation by Mr. Mark Golding.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was a highlight. It center stage. It was a performance, in my opinion, because it was almost at the end of Mr. Golding's presentation that this happened.
Mm-hmm.
And while I'm not saying it wasn't important, what the comments that he was making, and how the government responded to it, he had almost spoken. 90% of his presentation had already been made.
Right.
And he spoke about the economy, and he critiqued the budget and what he was proposing to be done, etc., etc. And then, you know, he mentioned this issue of the lack of independence on the part of the Speaker of the House, because the Speaker is the wife of the Prime Minister, Andrew Holness. Juliet Holness is the Speaker, and there is no independence. And there are issues which have arisen about corruption. There is an issue about whether there are at least 6 parliamentarians who are engaging in illicit enrichment. And the new Speaker, Juliet Holness, has refused to really give us the information that she's getting from the Integrity Commission. And so Mark Golding raised this issue, and raised the issue of whether she's really an independent person. And of course, the Prime Minister, first and foremost, was very upset about that. He got up, he walked out, and then the other government MPs walked out as well. So those were the issues at hand. Now, we're not saying that what Mark Golding raised wasn't important. It was very important because corruption is a big thing in Parliament, right?
Yes.
There are at least 6 parliamentarians, and we should also realize that these 6 parliamentarians are members of the government who are engaging in illicit enrichment, could be the Prime Minister and could be the Speaker of the House of Representatives as well. They could be both of them that are involved or part of the 6 of illicit enrichment. So that is a very, very big issue, and it has not been resolved. And it seems to be that they have more information than they are sharing with us, the public. And but it was only when Mr. Golding was making his presentation that it became an issue. I'm not saying they haven't raised it in the past, but for the people of Jamaica, corruption is a big, big issue. And we need some kind of agitation, some kind of movement against corruption. And that is why the People's Anti-Corruption Movement, to which I belong, we have been calling for a People's Commission of Inquiry into state corruption. And let me just let your listeners know that we have written a letter to the Prime Minister. We have written to the leader of the opposition. We have written to the 60-odd members of parliament, including the senators, saying that we are asking for, demanding a People's Commission of Inquiry so that we can know about the mechanisms of corruption, who is involved in corruption, and take legal action against them. Not one person has responded to our letter. The Prime Minister don't respond, the leader of the opposition don't respond, and none of the MPs, whether PNP or JLP, have responded. But when polls are done, at least 70% of the people say the system corrupt, the government corrupt, the opposition corrupt, etc., etc. So this is a big, big issue. And so, something has to be done about it. And that is what our position is. So there is corruption, and there is also the fact that the budget is deficient. It is not solving the problems of the people. And we were looking critically to see what Mr. Golding had to say as to whether he has an alternative to what the government is proposing. And based upon his presentation that I have read, because his presentation is really not on TV as it probably would have been had there not been this thing with the PNP. But I don't see him offering anything different from what the JLP is offering. So it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, different wings of the same bird.
We have joining us now Dr. Rupert Francis, head of the Jamaican Diaspora Crime Prevention Task Force, and also head of the Call to Action Group. Dr. Francis, welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much, Rudy. Good morning, afternoon, Lloyd. Good afternoon, all the persons out there in Radio Land. Good afternoon, Jeff. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, sir. Dr. Francis, your views as a former member of the Jamaica Labour Party, are still a member of the Labour Party, a person who has put up himself to run for representation politics. What is he going on in the parliament a couple of days ago, Dr. Francis? Your views on that, sir, and does it look bad in the national scene for Jamaica's leaders to be acting that way?
It's absolutely terrible what is going on in the parliament. I've seen parliamentary walkouts before in my life, but I don't know the reason why the Prime Minister and his team walked out, because what was being said was the truth. The fact of the matter, it should have been said before, and it should never have happened in the first place. I know that I couldn't even believe that the opposition had voted for the speaker. I think that's tradition. But I don't know if they understood all the possible parameters that could result from that, as Lloyd has said and others have said. I do believe that there's no way, if you're talking about equity, you're talking about transparency, you're talking about the appearance of transparency, right? At least in the appearance. Why would you have your wife holding that position, knowing how important it is? You know, and the word nepotism was not formed because it is just a cute name. It was formed because you do not, in essence, try to enrich those who you care for or to embellish them in any way, shape, or form. That's how I see it. I think it just was not a good look in the first place. However, though, I do believe that people could possibly act independently. But in this case, as we have seen in Jamaica, where a lot of people are not being held accountable, as everyone sees, and you know, it is very important. You know what is interesting is that Mr. Holness, the Prime Minister, is one of the few politicians that endeared themselves to the people in such a way that they really loved him, or possibly love him. And he, you know, and over this, if you look at the one, Michael Manley, for example, Hugh Shearer had some, Buster Manty had some love. On the, you have we're talking the ones that are, you know, the big love ones, not, you know, I mean, you know, PJ had his love, and also
But the question must be asked, Dr. Francis. Do they love the Jamaican people?
Do what?
Do they love the Jamaican people? Are you hearing me?
That's a very point that I'm making. That because of that love, sometimes people go overboard. And I think this is one of them that is showing the Jamaican people that the Prime Minister is not, you know, holding up to what he started out with. And that's the big problem. I mean, I don't know, Lloyd alluded to it, and you know, in a different way, in a technical way. But if you look at what is happening, people say, "Hey, I put my faith in you." I mean, I'm even wearing Clarks now. No, you know, here's the thing. I don't think that Clarks should be our reason to say, you know, that people embellish themselves towards somebody. And I was amazed. It's a very expensive shoe. How can ordinary Jamaicans buy Clarks? And no, they are killing people over Clarks. So we have to be careful of the messages we send, right? Because if we could afford it, if we were another country that was making serious money and everybody at the lowest wage and what have you, but the policemen can't wear Clarks, they can't even wear good shoes. That is a matter of record.
But hold on for me, Dr. Francis. Let us go back. Let us go back to what the question was asked of you.
Yes.
What is your views on the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Michael, as what a friend of mine always says, Andrew Michael Brogard Holness?
I know what the Brogard.
Your views on him walking out on the Jamaican people.
Okay.
Hold on for me, sir. He did not walk out on Mark Golding. He walked out on the Jamaican people. He walked out the job. Your views as a former member of the Jamaica Labour Party.
Yes. Let me see.
And a Jamaican who's leading the call to action group. How does it look?
It looks bad. I said it before, but maybe you missed it. It looks terrible. It should not have happened in the first place. But when I looked at the Prime Minister's face when Mark Golding, I don't know if anybody saw that, and his face went from almost pleasant to wincing to, I mean, I knew, and he was shaking his head, and then I heard the noise. I knew they're going to walk out. I knew it should not have happened, though. It should not have happened because it's the truth. You know, he was speaking the truth. And telling how he felt about his wife, the Prime Minister's wife, being made Speaker. Now, in retrospect, okay, it is there, but the point is, it should not have been. So walking out is not the answer. The Jamaican people don't want to walk out now, especially after the election that was very, very telling the other day. No, I do not think it's the right time to walk out on the opposition leader. Yes.
So do you believe? Do you believe? Because Dr. Paul Ashley, one of Jamaica's political commentator,
Yes.
well-known person in Jamaica. In the Gleaner today, Dr. Ashley is calling for Mark Golding and members of the People's National Party MPs to go to the Parliament, the well of the Parliament today at 2 o'clock Jamaica time, 3 o'clock US time. When the roll is being called by the clerk of the Parliament, answer to their name and then walk out. Your views on that? Then I go to Lloyd next.
Well, to be quite honest with you, that would be a good tactic. I wouldn't listen to whomever is giving a presentation, to be quite honest with you, from the government after yesterday. I personally believe that they should walk out. However, they might decide to stay, because to show that they're different from the current government, and so they might do that. Personally speaking, if you don't want to talk to me, I don't want to talk to you necessarily until we can come to some understanding that we are representing the Jamaican people. But Mark has to be careful, because remember, or whoever the opposition leader is, they are representing the Jamaican people. And just as always said it was wrong for them to do it yesterday, then 2 wrongs do not make a right. Make it right. So as far as I'm concerned, yes, I personally would not stay. But I mean, I'm speaking from a position, I do not represent the Jamaican people. But as a party in making, maybe it would be a good example to show that despite the fact that you walked out, that I am not going to be, we are not in the same.
Then Dr. Francis, if Mr. Golding get up and walk out, wouldn't he be walking to the Jamaican people too?
That's the point I'm making. That's the point I'm making, yes.
Lloyd?
Well, I am not a supporter of either the PNP or the JLP. I've made my criticisms pretty clear. But if the PNP has any integrity, I believe that they would stay in the Parliament, not walk out, not do what the Jamaica Labour Party did, and challenge them to a discussion on the issues that came up. In other words, is the Speaker of the House independent? Why doesn't she want to release reports that have been brought to Parliament by the Integrity Commission? Why don't we know who are the 6 parliamentarians, members of government, who are engaged in illicit enrichment? Is the Prime Minister and the Speaker of the House among the 6? I believe that that is a tactic that needs to be adopted by the opposition so that they can challenge the government very directly and have a conversation. If they were to walk out, that does not contribute anything at all to what it is that we the people want to know about and should have been done. So it would be twiddle-dee, twiddle-dum, and both of them would be playing politics and being histrionic and so on. So I don't think that that would be an issue that is commendable as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I know that Lloyd said that I tend to agree with Lloyd. Not tend to, I agree with Lloyd. In which I personally would want to, want to walk out. I mean, because I do not believe that. I think that they should be shamed as well. But then the question is, who's going to be shamed? As you quite rightly said, Lloyd. So asking those questions, definitely getting answers for them is very, very important, especially at this time. Because we need to know. We need to know that illicit thing, whatever it is, we need to know. We need for them to take the stranglehold of the Integrity Commission. We do not need oversight people. And I understand Mr. Warmington is one of the oversight people. Can you imagine? And that sort of thing. So I don't know. There are people that, we have to do better. We have to do better. This is our country. And everyone in that parliament ought to have spent a lot of time, a lot of work. I know everybody has spent a lot of time, a lot of work. Some have done better than others, obviously. Some are more invested than others. I remember the days when Mr. Warmington just came back and so on, and I saw him working night and day in his area. I was down there. I've been around.
Dr. Francis,
yes?
It is his duty. It is his duty to work on the behalf of the people that that elected him.
Of
What
course.
we do not, hold on for me, sir. What we do not like of Mr. Warmington, Everett Warmington is a disgrace to the Parliament of Jamaica. And he should never sit in the Parliament.
Well,
But we can't stop it because the people put him there.
that's
But Mr. Warmington is a disgrace to the Parliament of Jamaica. He keep on disrespecting the Jamaican people.
Well, let me say this to you. I've seen a lot of people in Parliament all over the world, and I know Jamaica is different in a sense, but to be quite honest with you, it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. So you're gonna have the Prime Minister is the one who's to keep everybody in check, from my recollection, and so. And in fact, what has happened the other day, Mr. Warmington talked himself right into a suspension. And so I think chickens are coming to the roost.
Let me ask this question though. Lloyd, what do you expect from the Prime Minister's budget, the presentation this evening? The budget is a $1.3 trillion budget. And out of that budget, you have oh Lord, I don't have the paper here with me. But you have JUTC getting how much bill? $2.6 billion to buy new buses when the JUTC is a bankrupt company. You don't see anything there to build a water reservoir for the Jamaican people. You don't see anything there to put in water system for the breadbasket parish of St. Elizabeth. So what do you expect from the Prime Minister's speech today, Sir Lloyd?
Well, I expect the Prime Minister to defend what the Finance Minister has presented. I expect him to try to respond to what the leader of the opposition has said so far. I mean, that will be the tactic that he will employ in his presentation. But let me say the first thing is that there are so many deficiencies, so many social deficiencies that need to be addressed. The leader of the opposition tried to point some of them out, but he himself didn't present any solution to these problems. And some of them, for example, are education, that the spending on education is very deficient. And when Jamaica is ranked against other countries where education is concerned, we're way down the bottom. A lot of children can't read. They come out of high school and primary school very deficient, right? So our education system needs increased spending. The government hasn't put forward any particular proposal, nor did Mr. Golding present any particular proposal to solve that problem. But what we do need is massive investment in education, and we need free education. That is one of the things that we need, free education. In the 1970s, the Michael Manley government introduced free education. And by the time Siaga came to power some years later, he said, boy, we can't afford it. And him start to reduce the investment in education and end free education, etc. A lot of people who went to university and got a degree have said it was because of free education put forward by the Manley government in the 70s why they were able to get a university degree, right? And not only did Siaga begin to reduce funding to education, but when the PNP came back also, they continued to reduce the funding of education in Jamaica. It even led to university students having a protest. And now the only solution that they have is the government, the finance minister, is saying that, well, if you want to go to university and you need a student loan, you don't have to get a guarantor anymore. So that is what they're telling the potential students, because previously, if you wanted to get a student loan, you have to go and get a guarantor. If you're poor, who is going to be your guarantor, etc., etc. So the point that I'm really making is that education needs to be free. And I don't hear Mark Golding coming out and say, well, no, we need free education. But let me just say another thing is that when the finance minister made his presentation, he was very proud that there had not been any new taxes introduced over the past 6 or 7 years. And he was very proud of that, right? But Mark Golding said, well, boy, that's not really true because the people are paying more taxes, even though you haven't directly imposed any income taxes. But what we really need to talk about is the fact is that the rich, the capitalist class, are getting away with free and no increased taxes because they are making billions and billions of dollars of profits off the labor of the working class people in Jamaica. And the government of the day is worshiping them, bowing down to them, and say, we are not giving you any increased taxes. So when they don't impose new taxes on the rich and the powerful, what it means is that education is deficient, health is deficient, transportation is deficient, and all the other social issues are deficient because there is no income coming from the people who are making billions and billions of dollars off of the labor of the working class people in Jamaica.
Hold on for me, Dr. Francis. I'll let you come in. But let me ask, Lloyd, you called for free education, sir. How are they going to fund the free education?
By taxing the rich, by taxing the big capitalist class that is making billions and billions of dollars off the working class people in Jamaica. Simple as that. Right? And there is a lot of corruption. The Transparency International says that $750 million is swiped away each year and put into the pockets of officials and MPs each year. You know how much money that is? That is a lot of money. And so therefore, that is one of the reasons why neither PNP nor JLP want to talk about a People's Commission of Inquiry into state corruption so that we can halt it, we can put the people who are involved in corruption in prison, and we can use that money to fund education and fund the other social programs that are needed. So I don't see anything to be proud of, to be telling the people that, well, we're not taxing the rich and the powerful. If he was saying, well, we don't tax working class people, we haven't increased any, fine. But don't tell me, say, you equating working class people and the big rich people who making billions and billions of dollars. Don't tell me there's nothing to be proud of where that is concerned. And where that is concerned, I don't see no difference between PNP and JLP because I don't hear Mark Golding making a critical comment where that is concerned. So as I said before, I don't see any difference between PNP and JLP. They are different wings of the same corrupt bird. And that is what is happening inside the parliament right now.
Dr. Francis? We're speaking to Lloyd de Aguilar. Dr. Francis, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say that, Lloyd, you made your point very stridently. But I want to remind you that early childhood education has not existed since 1960. And that's the issue. They have not given any early childhood education at all. None of the administration, not even Michael Manley's, really early childhood. Michael Manley made an attempt. His father, in fact, benefited from his instrumenting the going to high school with scholarships in the 60s. Okay, so that's how I got into high school, and you have half scholarship and full scholarship, but unsuccessfully. I can't argue with the rest of the time, but no government has really sought it because they don't want to have smart people; they want to have dummies, and they ended up funding women because when you looked at in 1962, Herbert Gale has it out there that when you looked at the women in university, there were about 90 to 10, 90 men, 10 women. And now it's a complete reverse because they neglected the men. And that's why, our men have now turned robbers and pirates. So that's Herbert Gale's assessment and evaluation after he had done his research. And so I'm just saying to you that governments, successive governments have failed Jamaica. None of them can stand up and say that they have failed Jamaica. And this is another one who is apparently doing the very same thing on a different spectrum. Because when you talk about, there are fin traps and all the other things that are happening in the 70s, don't forget that. And the 90s and the 80s. That's disruption. And talk about people getting, rich people getting, breaks. Those were the breaks they got. They got the banks, they got the things, they got NCB, they got all over the place. So please, understand that Jamaica, hold on, my friend, let's just clear it up. That Jamaicans, average Jamaican has never been looked after. Look at the roads. When I was there 20 odd years ago, the same roads are the same. No water, no light. I mean, come on, man. We need to get real and demand better of our leaders in Jamaica. That's what we need to do. Yes,
Dr. Francis and Lloyd, we're going to segue into boycotting elections in Jamaica, but I need to say this to you, both of you. In the $1.3 trillion budget that is presented to the people of Jamaica, you have personal income tax threshold. You have $882 million for Westmoreland Police Divisional Headquarters, $2.6 billion to buy new buses for JUTC. You have $900 million, $950 million for St. Catherine Police Divisional Headquarters. You have $900 million for 50 garbage trucks. And no new taxes. As of April 1st, there will be no guarantor for student loan. He spoke about that. The question to both of you is this. You see so many things in the capital budget for Jamaica. But they're going to give, they're going to give. So tell me something now. In all of this that they have, how you don't see anything in there to boost Jamaica's healthcare? As what you said earlier on, Lloyd, nothing in there for education. There's nothing in there for security. Well, I don't know if the Minister of Insecurity is going to come and say anything. We have a new commissioner of police. I hope it's better than the one we had before, the Twiddly Dum Dum. Let us see if, but based on all of this, Lloyd and Dr. Francis, is this a budget for the Jamaican people or a budget for the people of the Vumbova and the Vumbovi? Lloyd?
Well, I've made the point already that the rich capitalist class is getting away scot-free. They are the ones who fund the political parties, who give them all the money that they need to go out there and campaign. And we don't even know who give them how much they got, but we know that they do get funded by these political parties. And there is an implicit agreement between those who fund them and the political parties that we will take care of you. We're not impose no taxes on you. And so that is why every time the politicians on both sides of the fence very proudly say, well, we didn't impose any taxes, okay? So as you have pointed out before, there are all these social deficiencies. So you will see some buses are bought. Nothing wrong with that, because transportation is a big problem, and children are not, going to school on time and so on. So there are a lot of issues that need to be addressed that are not being addressed because of the deficiency in the budget. But let me just say one little thing about education as well, is that a lot of children are not going to school because them parents don't have lunch money and them parents don't have bus fare to give them. And sometimes the parents don't have money to buy the uniform. And if you don't have the uniform, you can't go in school and all of that. So we have to take that into consideration as well, that you listen to what the people are saying, and those are some of the problems. Now, you mentioned security. A new police commissioner has been appointed, and our position, the People's Anti-Corruption Movement position, is that the position of police commissioner should not be an appointed one. It should be an elected one. It should be an elected one because when you're appointed, you are part of the system within the police force. You and the present police commissioner, you are friends. Him know you, you know him. The minister know you, etc. And the police extrajudicial killings is a policy of state, right? And so this new police commissioner did not address the issue of police extrajudicial killings. So he talked nice, him have a degree and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to the really important matters that affect the people, when the police come in there and them start box down people and kick down people and go in their house at 4 o'clock and shoot them up and all that kind of stuff. And those are the things that are happening. We need a police commissioner who is going to address those issues. Are you going to give all the police men and women body cameras, right? Put body cameras on them when they go out there to do their duties, because nobody has addressed that issue. The previous police commissioner, he knows that they have imported and bought a whole heap of body cameras, and there is no rule which says that you must have on a body camera when you go out there to do your operation. So there are so many issues that need to be talked about, and that is one of them. And as we are saying, we need free education, we need free healthcare, and we need land for the landless, because there are so many people who don't have no land. They want to farm. The minister is talking about, well, we must increase agriculture or we must do this. Well, a lot of people want to farm, but they can't farm because the bulk of the land is owned by a handful of landowners. And when you go on the farm...
And the Chinese.
And Chinese, whoever they are, and if you build a little house on the land, them come and them destroy it, and them say you're a squatter, etc. Jamaica is captured land. It was captured and genocide committed against the Tainos who lived here. And then Africans brought here as slaves. And when slavery was over, is a handful of people control the land, and it continues to this day. I don't hear PNP or JLP taking a position against the landlessness that exists in this country. We have to do something about that as well. So those are some of the issues that are not talked about, and that's the deficiency in the opposition's presentation, the deficiency in the government's presentation. And I guarantee you that when we have the Prime Minister's presentation today or tomorrow, whenever it is, he's not going to address those issues at all, because they are different wings of the same bird. There are no fundamental differences between PNP and JLP. And that is why we are saying that if 70% of the people don't vote, then that is equivalent to a boycott. Yes. And so we are now saying now that when the election time comes, don't vote. Let us say we are boycotting the elections, and we are boycotting it because we want people self-government. We want community self-government. We want direct democracy. We don't want direct democracy.
Before we get into that, hold on. Dr. Francis, comment on what we asked and also what Lloyd just said. What do you see? Do you see anything coming from the Prime Minister today? Anything new?
Listen, I do not expect very much from the Prime Minister today. What I want to hope, I'm hoping, is that the poor people will be the focus, the focus of what is going to happen in the next few years. That is what I'm hoping that will happen. If we can assure that the children, the underserved populations and what have you are given an opportunity, the landless, as Lloyd has said, if we can ensure that these people are given funds to make a living, clear land, and produce on the land and so on, and give them opportunity, new opportunities, then I can understand where we are going as a country. But the problem is that we do not have it set. People cannot afford it. And even if they get a piece of land, they can't work it because you need people to work it. You need to get, various things that we can help them. They need vehicles to take their thing to the markets. They need to get seeds. There's so many things that they need. Okay, but we have to focus on the poor people, or else what's going to happen again? Is another election where it's going to be, another government gone and another one in, and we don't really know why. So I'm hoping that whatever government succeeds in the next election, that they can convince the people, and not by doing and saying that we are going to do this for you. And the people must insist on that. Because if they don't do it, they should be out, and the people must know. Come out and state, and I believe that the last election, and a lot of you may not agree with me, that it was an indication of young people coming out and saying, we have had enough, we want an opportunity. We don't want to be scamming anymore, we need opportunities just as us. We are smart as anybody else. So if we can scam it, we can be artificial intelligence gurus like out of India. Nothing wrong with that. So we have to focus, in my opinion, on that population in order to move forward. That's how I see it.
We're gonna say
police. One thing.
Go ahead, sir.
The police, I just want to say is the anti-corruption, and the fact of the matter is that crime is out of control. The police are not being given resources to sustain itself. There's not enough resources, and so we need to get. And the commissioner, he will have to listen, and we have to have dialogue with him to make sure he does the right thing. Okay, if he doesn't, the police is not the issue. It's the leaders are the issue, not the police. Okay, because the police, you can't give them basket to carry water. We need better police. We need training, education, and support. We are not getting that, and the criminals are getting away with murder, literally and figuratively.
Yes, Lloyd, you have an article in the Star today. The anti-corruption group that you are part of is calling for Jamaicans to boycott elections in Jamaica. Why is that so?
Well, as I said before, if 70% of the people don't vote, it means that they don't support either party. They don't believe that the things that I've talked about, they see through what it is that they are doing. They see the hypocrisy. They see the lack of transparency, the corruption, etc., etc. So it is merely a move towards a formal expression of the people not supporting the two political parties, because 70% of the electorate is a big percentage. And it means that there is a legitimacy crisis if a government is voted for by a minority of the people. That is a very big issue. And so therefore, why we are calling for a formal boycott. In other words, the next general elections come, we will let the two political parties know that we are boycotting you because you are not addressing the issues which are important to us. And we want community self-government, we want people self-government, because when we elect you, we only hear from you 5 years after when there's another election. And when you come around, you're paying people to vote. Because we must also remember, that if 70% of the people don't vote, and it's only 30%, it means that another percentage of those 30% are actually paid for votes. They are bought. So it means that an overwhelming majority of the people don't really support these two political parties. We don't have an alternative party. We don't have a third party. We just had a group that came to power called the Jamaica Unity Alliance. And they said that they were formed by 5 smaller parties. But all they are focused on is constitutional reform, whether we are going to have an executive president or an executive prime minister and that kind of thing. That is not going to change anything fundamental in Jamaica, Constitutional reform is not going to change anything. Whether you go from monarchy to an executive president, because the system is corrupt. What you're going to do is have a corrupt executive president. And that is what this potential third party is talking about. The social issues they have not addressed. And so therefore, what we need is for the people to have a voice, to be able to say, in my community, these are the issues. We don't have no road. We don't have no sanitation. We don't have no housing. We don't have no land. The children not going to school, and to be able to express themselves directly. Because when you elect, for example, the parish councils, which are supposedly more directly connected to the people, they are just as abstract from the people as the central government. There is no relationship between the people and the parish council. The people don't have a chance of going to the parish council and talk to them. We don't know how much money them get. We don't know how much salary them get. We know absolutely nothing about the parish council. So we need community self-government where the people can begin to set up their own structures, and they can begin to address the issues, address the parish council, address the parliament, and so on and so forth, and begin to develop that. So that is why we are not just calling for a boycott, but we are calling for a boycott in association with community self-government, where it is the people who now have a voice in expressing what it is that they want. And as I've said before, the people are going to tell you, say, they want free education, they want free health care, they want all of the social issues to be dealt with. And I would say one more thing too, right? Because we talk about crime and all that kind of thing. The people themselves know who the gangs are, right? They know what is going on. They know what divides them and why they must fight each other and everything else. Now, if the people had some say in the matter, they could bring the gangs together and have a discussion and try to resolve the matter, rather than when the central government hear that them burn down a house down there, so them send soldier and police and declare a zone of special operation or state of emergency, and then them go in and kill this boy here and that boy there. There is no organized, intelligent way of addressing the problem, addressing the social problems, having a dialogue with them. I believe that the people have much, much more knowledge than the government, than the police, and everybody else. And that is why we need people's community self-government, a movement to begin to build that up, because central government is deficient. From left, right, and center, they are deficient.
Let me ask you this question, though. Dr. Francis is going to come in next. Let me ask you this question, though, Lloyd. But if you are telling the Jamaican people now, Mr. de Aguilar, to boycott elections in Jamaica, then if they boycott the elections, what happened?
I beg your pardon, if what?
If they boycott the elections in Jamaica, if Andrew should call election tomorrow morning, because for him to call the election, they have to dissolve parliament.
Yes.
So when they dissolve the parliament of Jamaica, in other words, I think under the constitution is a GG in charge, if my memory serves me correctly, if that is so. So when the Jamaican people boycott the election now, sir, what happened next? What is the next move?
Well, I've already said it, that we are going to begin to set up alternative community self-government. We are going to begin to talk about the power of the people. We're going to talk about the program that the people, so it is not just boycott the election and that's it. We are talking about boycotting the election and having a program, a social program and a political program to solve the problems. I mean, listen, you vote you vote and you never, the politicians don't come to you and say nothing to you for 5 years. No, I believe that if we had a real democracy, the people should be able to go into the parliament and talk to the two political parties and say, listen, over in a Trench Town or Denham Town or wherever, these are the problems that we are having. But we don't have that at all, right? There is no serious democracy in this country. It is a democratic dictatorship of a handful of politicians. That is what is going on. And let me say one more thing. The other day, the Gleaner, not the other day, maybe a year or so ago, the Gleaner had an editorial, and that editorial said that there are two gangs in Parliament, and not one of the politicians or the political parties say, how dare you call us two gangs? Well, guess what? There's the anti-gang legislation. And whenever they use anti-gang legislation, they send the police into the communities and then just round up a whole heap of boy and then put them in the back of the truck and then take them to a detention center. Well, if two gangs in Parliament, if we have two gangs in Parliament, why isn't the anti-gang legislation used against the two gangs in Parliament who have not denied that they are gangs, right? And we know that the importation of guns coming into Jamaica to support gangs which have gun, where the gun them coming from, who bringing in the gun, how the gun just come at the harbor, and when the police here say gun there at the harbor, them just go collect the guns, but they never allow the people who the guns come to go and pick it up. So you can do an investigation to find out who's sending the gun and who's receiving the gun. I believe that the police is compromised where this is concerned, and they're compromised because the people who are bringing in the guns are politically connected and they have their reasons for doing that. So when you look at the system from top to bottom, it is totally corrupt, and we need to change it.
You know, you can only change something with something better, and there is no indication that there's anything better out there in the country that can assist, whether you're East or not or whatever. Nothing is going to go on if the people don't decide that they're going to get this matter straightened out. You know, people, they're good people, supposed to be good people in Jamaica. Well, where are they? When you get rid of the political party, at least you have the political parties, for example. You know, but where is the framework that we're going to move forward with? And who's going to run that framework?
But I just mentioned that we need
But the point I'm making,
people, community, self-government. That is the alternative.
But you can't have a hodgepodge self-government. You don't have no training. You don't have no training, no education experience.
I disagree with you.
No, but I'm sorry. But until you
hold on, one at a time. Hold on, gentlemen. One at a time, please.
If you can't show me the expertise, the people, the selected people who are not corrupt, who are not suspect and whatever. If we can't have those people identified, at least with politicians, let's see some of them. At least let's see some of them. The point is we are picking the wrong ones. We have to educate the population as to what is true governance, true ethics, through lack of corruption. We have to stop it because
but that is what I'm saying. But that is what I'm arguing for. That's what I'm saying.
What I'm trying to say, you're saying, but who is going to build the cat? Where's the organization?
The people are going to do it. Hold on a second. The People's Anti-Corruption Movement is building a movement where we are going to educate the people by telling them that they must begin to organize themselves. We will be working with them. So when the time comes, because if there is no alternative, then we are going to live with corruption forever and ever and ever. We're going to live with poverty forever and ever. So this is a way of beginning to build a movement. You have to come up with something that is going to assist you.
So let me ask you. You're head of this anti-corruption group, right? The point I'm trying to make is how many people are already in it, ready to move and operate and to reduce all of these ills in Jamaica? How many?
Well, I am not saying that we have, we reach where we want to go. We are building an advocate. That's why I'm on this program. And I'm hopefully that people who are listening to the program would say, yes, Lloyd, I agree with you. I'm going to call you. I'm going to make contact with you. And we're going to talk some more. So it's just like if you're building a movement, you have to find ways and means of reaching out to the people and getting your point. The political parties, They can put a big ad in at the newspaper and pay millions of dollars for ad. They can go up on television and they can go in at the Gleaner and the Observer and get their point across. And then the big man will give them millions of dollars to go hold public meeting in this community or that community. When you are not connected in those ways, it is a challenge. But we have to recognize that we have a more realistic or alternative program to what is being offered, to what is being offered than what the politicians are doing. So I think we need to recognize that.
I see your point. I see your point. But let's be real. We need people, and we have a very small people, honest people. When you have people, for example, who don't respect their cousins and their aunts and their uncles from overseas, for example, and vice versa, and we suspect each other. We have to find a way of creating that type of people that we want in the short, medium, and long term. So that, because that's why I believe in starting with the children, because we have lost some generations. So we have to start somewhere. Our philosophy, and in the crime task force, for example, is to work with the small group, these children right now, and move them forward, and move them and educate them and what have you, so that we can have a wealth of information, so that we can use to pivot forward to do what you are doing. But the point I make, who do you trust? You know what
I am not disagreeing with what you are saying. I'm not in disagreement. You are disagreeing with me, but I'm not in disagreement with you. I recognize that there are challenges, and we are going to address those challenges. But what we are saying is that the system as it presently exists doesn't provide an alternative to the present political system, which is corrupt, which is violent, and we need to have to start somewhere. Anytime you have a child that is growing up, the child have to make the first step. When they make the first step, they may fall down, but they will get stronger and they will learn how to walk. And so therefore, we are not saying that we have solved all the problem, but we believe that we are articulating a proper alternative. We will try to build a movement. We will be critical of those who are offering solutions that are not really solutions. And we should have dialogue with people who really want to see change come about. So let us not be like the politicians who cuss one another. Let us accept what the issues are, how we can deal with it, and how we can move it forward. But we have to accept that we have two we have two corrupt political parties that do not have the solution to the problems of the people, and we have to get rid of those two political parties.
Okay. This is where you and I are gonna differ a lot. I do believe that we have two corrupt. We have two parties. Okay, and yes, there has been corruption in both. I agree with that. However, I believe we have two parties and we have to move forward. We're certainly not Haiti, okay, as some people have alluded elsewhere. So therefore, I believe that what was demonstrated the other day, because nobody had any idea that the People's National Party, the opposition, could have even challenged the Jamaica Labour Party the other day at the local government election. And now you must agree that there's a different sense of people are now saying, well, if this can happen, then perhaps something will happen in the future. I do believe that there are people out there who are working, whether with whichever party, and certainly working with the parties to make sure that this type of transition, to start from the scratch, is almost impossible. I think and I'm not saying it's improbable, but it's not impossible, improbable, because at least we have something. And my view is we are still one of the greatest democracies in the West. We're still, even though it is corrupt, we know that. We know why it's corrupt. Why are we surprised though? Because Henry Morgan was our first governor, and he was a damn pirate. So
hold on there for me. Hold on there for me, gentlemen.
Let me just ask him. But what you're not doing is you're ignoring the fact that 70% of the people don't vote. So I mean,
I agree with that, Lloyd. But hold on there, Lloyd.
70% of the people don't vote. So what does that mean? It means that there are 70% of the people who are potentially ready to be an alternative to the present political
That doesn't
system.
mean that.
But
That doesn't mean
hold
that.
on there, Lloyd.
Okay,
Let me ask
all
you a
right.
question, Lloyd.
Yeah.
If 70% of the Jamaican people, all right, it was 2 million people eligible to vote in the last local government election. 29% of them voted as what? 500,000 people, I think. Yes, am I correct? If I'm correct. How do you know that the Jamaican people is ready to boycott elections in Jamaica? 2, what are you going to put in place for them to say, okay, the anti-corruption movement is the best movement to go to because they have given us alternative and we can see where it can work. They have people on the ground talking to us and so forth.
Well, I've just said it already. I've just said what our program, what we're advocating is all about. And I've already said that these are the social conditions that exist. There's no disagreement between us here in terms of the lack of garbage collection, the children not going to school, lack of housing, lack of education, healthcare, landlessness. Nobody is disagreeing with that. So therefore, we have a program. So we have a program and 70% of the people are dissatisfied with the PNP and the JLP. So there's a whole heap of people out there ready to hear what it is that we have to say. So it's very simple. It's not a complicated.
Can I just ask a question? Can I ask a question?
Complicated.
Okay. The anti-corruption movement is comprised of what? Just you alone or the other two parties? I have
people. I have an anti-corruption organization, and we are working to build that organization. We had a public meeting last Sunday that was reported in the Star. We have had protests. I was arrested last year when I and somebody else went in front of Jamaica House to hold up a placard against corruption, against the policy with Haiti and with the policy with Israel. We went there and hold up some placards, and because they don't want us to expose Jamaica House and the Prime Minister, they came there and arrested us. We did not commit any crime. They violated our constitutional right to freedom of expression and movement, etc., etc. I am still before the courts, and we will continue to agitate. We are now going to have a movement demanding that Jamaica end diplomatic relations with Israel, which is carrying out a genocide against the Palestinians. We are also calling on the Jamaican government to give the Haitian refugees who come here their rights, to consider them as refugees. And we are opposed to Jamaica sending any soldiers to Haiti. That is unconstitutional. Just as in Kenya, they ruled that it is unconstitutional and illegal to send soldiers or policemen to Haiti. We are saying the same thing. And we are going to build a movement around those issues.
Lloyd, I have been on many programs. I've been in many areas, and many of the things that you've said, many Jamaicans do not agree with. Because, for example, hold on, let me see.
The ones that here don't agree with me, but I talk to people on the street every day, and plenty of them agree with me. And plenty of them agree with me. So,
okay. Do a poll. Now.
What we're gonna do now, you see? We're gonna open up the phone lines. And I want Jamaicans to call in, whether you're in Jamaica or you're in the United States or in London or in Germany. What do you think about the anti-corruption group that is saying Jamaicans should boycott elections? What is your views on that? The numbers to call is 954-529-8030. Let us get the views from Jamaicans.
Let me just say before, first of all, I would like people to like, share, and subscribe this channel, because it looks like the owner of the channel don't care whether you like, share, or subscribe. But I'm going to make sure that people, because I show this out there so more people get to see Mr. Lloyd Aguilar. By the way, I like your views in a lie. Don't get me wrong, but I'm one of those people. Even me like him, I will tell you something. You know what I mean? And you are like me too. So I hope you're not January born. But the point I'm making is this, that we all have, or we love Jamaica. I can hear the passion. But what I'm trying to say is that right now the diaspora and Jamaica, it's kind of it's like a no man's land, and I'm hoping to see that come to life. I think we have a huge opportunity in the diaspora to link with people of sort. Now, I don't necessarily agree with the Gaza situation, only because I don't like terrorism of any kind. And so if you are mixing it up with people, then some people can say, hey, but they're going over. Listen, let me tell you something. The problem in Jamaica with crime too, you know that why people do crime in Jamaica, because them not have no brother who or no sister who have no dog heart. If they had a brother or a sister are backative, you think some of the crime would take care in Jamaica? No, it don't happen in certain areas because they know that person is going to come after you, right? So the point I'm making is this: if you stand up and make a man box you, like the Bible, I love the Bible, I'm a Christian, but don't think I'm going to take a lick on my cheek and then turn the other cheek. No, sir, I'm going to box you, never box nobody else. As some is here. So the point I'm trying to make is this. Yeah?
Let me just say one little thing in response, right?
Yes.
I believe that all Jamaica should become like Beverly Hills and Cherry Gardens and all these places, because in Cherry Gardens and Beverly Hills, police don't go down there, go shoot nobody. All the children are going to school. Everybody have house and they have jobs and everything else. If we had the rest of Jamaica, Trenchtown and Denham Town and Tivoli Gardens and all the inner cities were rich like the uptown, there wouldn't be no violence and no gangs and all of that stuff going on. So it is the poverty and the economic oppression that is going on in this country, which is the cause of crime. And nobody is addressing poverty in this country.
Lloyd, I'm going to agree with you to a certain extent. But we took over from the English in 1960, and our books were okay, fine. They said we never had enough money, but for 10 years, what? When we got independence in 1962. In 1962, we got independence, and even before that, we had the Legislative Council. And I'm saying it is our people that have been in charge. Our people that are in charge. We had a dollar that was almost equal to the American.
Are corrupt, or people are corrupt.
So the people listen by the English people. If tomorrow morning,
2 persons cannot talk at a time. 2 persons cannot talk at a time, gentlemen. 2 persons cannot talk at a time. 1 person at a time. The numbers to call into the program is 954-529-8030. Do you believe that Jamaicans should boycott the election if Andrew should call election come tomorrow morning? The numbers are 954-529-8030. We have Dr. Rupert Francis on the program here, and Lloyd de Aguilar, who's a human rights activist. He's on the program. He's also the chairman. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
I'm not going to stay long, but I think Mark should go and show us he's a bigger man.
What are you talking about, sir?
Back in the parliament.
No. We're talking about something else, sir. Do you believe that Jamaicans should boycott the elections if they call election, sir?
If they call election, no, man, vote out, man. Vote out. Give me the party, man.
Okay.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Listen, let me say, I want to say this. If all the money in the world was given to certain people, right, in 1 week, in 2 weeks' time, it would change hands. So even if you put the people up in Beverly Hills and you don't change their attitude and their behavior and so on, I mean, work with them and so that they can, it could be another ghetto in no time.
I disagree with you on that. Rapidly, fundamentally disagree with you. What is it? Hold on. Is it DNA that causes the people in Cherry Gardens and Beverly Hills to have money and live nice and wonderful? But when the poor people, if you give the poor people them down at Trenchtown money, them are going to still kill one another and shoot one another and all them kind of stuff there. Is that what you're saying?
Lloyd, hold on there.
It's part of their DNA.
Hold on there, Lloyd. Hold on there.
Come on.
Isn't everybody can be rich? Isn't everybody in the United States is rich? Isn't everybody can be rich?
No.
I'm not saying rich. I'm saying take care of the social needs of the people. Give
Yes,
them education, give them housing, give them the respect that is due for them, and then you will radically reduce the crime that is going on there. But
And
I
you
you
believe-
have
believe, and
Beverly
you
Hills and you
believe,
have Trenchtown. What that big difference between Beverly Hills and Trenchtown? The Prime Minister go build him castle up at Beverly Hills. Where him get the money from? Which part him get that money there from for build a castle there? Cash without even borrowing any money. That is what the Prime Minister did. There's no accounting of how he got that money. Where did he get it from?
but Lloyd, you believe by taxing the people of the Vumva and the Vumvavine can help Jamaica to have free education and free healthcare?
But of course it can.
course it can.
I mean, the rich people there, you know what they do? They engage in profiling. They go there and they give little charities here and there because they have so much money that they can afford to make themselves look good. So we go there and we give a little charity here and a little charity there. It's all posturing. It is all posturing. And they are not, no increased taxes. We don't know how much money them get. We do know that every now and again, NCB and Nova Scotia declare billions of dollars of profits, right? Where the money go? Who get the money there? Why is it that there's so much
somebody in
deficiency
the
and
chat
those
room,
people are swimming in money, them drowning in the money that they're making?
Lloyd, somebody in the chat room is asking you this question.
Yes.
When we don't vote, what happened next?
But
Who
I've
is put
already
in
said
place?
it. I've already said it.
Well,
We are
repeat this.
going
Well,
to-
repeat, I understand you.
we are going to develop community organizations. We're going to aim for community self-government so that the people are already boycotting the election. You know, this is what people don't understand. You know, a boycott movement is already there, but it is not formally called a boycott.
Yes,
We are formally calling it a boycott because it means that we have a minority government because it's only 30% of the people then voting. Suppose 80% of the people don't vote. Are you going to be comfortable with 20%
hold on for me now.
voting for the oppression and the oppressive ruling class that exists in this
We have
country?
a call online. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, Jeff. Good afternoon, Mr. Jeffrey.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
I am not in agreement with somebody saying that the people should boycott voting.
Yes.
They all have their rights if they are registered to vote, because what would we be living for if we're going to sit down and allow this person who is now the Prime Minister to stay in office? He walked out of the parliament 2 days ago, and that's a disrespect to the people of the country. And you're going to allow him, when you boycott another election, to stay in power for longer? This is not clear.
Let me explain something
That's
to you.
not a good argument.
Hold on. Let me explain something to you. I don't think Mr. de Aguilar is saying that the Jamaican people should not should boycott. Well, that's what he's saying. But I don't think he meant that what we should do is continue having the Labour Party in power. No. What he's saying, that the election is called, generally, what we should do is boycott every single election I call in this country.
Yeah, but he's still the person in power.
Well,
So if you boycott the next election, what's going to happen?
But let me just say something, and I've said it before. There is no difference between the PNP and the JLP. They are two corrupt political parties. So
That's
if
your point,
so the
sir.
Jamaica Labour Party remains in power or they're replaced by the People's National Party, there is no programmatic difference. There's no political difference. There is absolutely no difference between the PNP
That's
and
your
the
talking
JLP.
point. You don't love the people of Jamaica.
What?
Well, no.
Right.
Listen. Can I listen, caller? I don't think that's the. I think Mr. de Aguilar loves Jamaica. That's not the issue. The issue I have with the situation is this: that we cannot we have to be careful. We can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We have to. The fact that 70% of the people did not vote does not mean that does not mean that they have lost confidence in voting. It means some are afraid of voting. Some don't know what they're voting for. Some people have no confidence. And the fact of the matter is that most of the parties that put themselves up cannot put up anybody. They have no money. They have no standing.
Dr. Francis, I
Yes.
agree with you because the people needs education. I was born in an era where I was a small child going to be maybe primary school when I heard the prime minister of the country stood up on a political platform. I was listening on my dad's radio, and he said saltfish is better than education. Okay?
Papa
So
Eddie.
that is the thing that has been going on. Keep the people done and use them. And we have to educate our fellow brothers and sisters now.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm with you, caller. I'm with you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
So
much.
very
I
much.
am trying to educate, and you don't appreciate the education that I am trying to do. You want wholeness or Mark Golding to educate you when they are themselves compromised and corrupt, and you believe that they can
That's
educate.
your
Who is going to
opinion. It's
educate
not
the
a
people?
fact.
Who is going to educate the people? We have to educate ourselves.
Oh, by the way, let me
Yeah, but
just
you're
add
not trying
something.
to help the people by telling them to boycott election.
The people have already
They
boycotted the election.
listen,
70% don't vote.
Hold on. Let's get some order inside here now. Let's get some order. Dr. Francis, go ahead. Then we're gonna tell
I'm
the
just
caller
saying
thanks
to
for
you,
calling
listen
because
to me.
another call coming
Why
in.
does the caller? Because
Okay, Jeffrey, I just wanted to get my point across. So thank you for allowing
caller.
me to speak.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you for
Hello,
calling. I
good
appreciate
afternoon.
it.
Welcome to the Make We Talk program.
Yes, and remember
You're
to
live.
like, share, and subscribe. Let me tell you something.
Hold on, Dr.
Lloyd.
Francis. Hold on. You're live on air. Go ahead. Oh. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. Welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you. Good morning to Mr. Francis, Mr. De Aguilar, and yourself.
Good morning.
I am calling in because the subject matter has something that that I wish to speak about.
Go ahead.
Mr. De Aguilar said that he would suggest that Jamaicans boycott elections. But what Mr. De Aguilar is failing to tell the audience is that voter apathy is not an uncommon phenomenon in most countries that do vote. That is not something that's uncommon. So his solution is boycotting. Okay, so he boycotts it, but the present government would remain in power until there is an election. The movement that he has, does he intend for it to become an official party as an alternative? That's one thing I'm asking. He also mentioned about taxing the rich, which is the 1% of the country, to get revenue. And again, he pointed out that they're the ones who really control our food security. If that's something that he needs to address. Also, he mentioned farming. Farming in Jamaica is something that no government has ever fully invested into farming for youths to get jobs or career out of it. They have not pushed that as a career option. Who is going to feed us? Are we going to be eating space lettuce and other things coming from outer space if young people do not gravitate towards farming with best practices that are elsewhere in the world? There is lots of stuff that Jamaica is not taking advantage of. All I hear is talk. And who in the government is granting license to people for them to bring in food, to flood the markets with imported goods and leave our farmers without the ability to sell their goods and having to throw it to feed pigs or put it back into the earth? Those are some of the things I would like some answers to, if any of them can answer what they suggest.
Okay, caller. Thanks much. Can you answer Dr. Francis? Or,
yes, I will answer.
Lloyd?
Very, very important points, my dear. I really appreciate them because, you know, as I said, we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We know that things are not right now. We know that. What is incumbent is to encourage the people in Jamaica to come out and state what is not wrong and work towards getting a better Jamaica, a more ethical Jamaica, a less corrupt Jamaica, a crime-free Jamaica, and a Jamaica that loves herself and her people, especially the poor and the children and the underserved in our country. That's what we need. Mr. Aguilar asked me the question: is whatever behavior in our DNA? Of course, behavior can be. It's a biopsychosocial process, right? It's a biopsychosocial process, and so some people are born with some stuff. The other people can be influenced, and the most important is you're a product of your environment. A product of your environment.
Hold on, So power to the people in our Cherry Gardens, power to the people in our Beverly Hills, because they have a better DNA than the people down at Trenchtown.
I never said that.
No, that's what you just said.
That's not what I said.
That is what you just said.
Bio.
Right? Accept it. You just said that.
Lloyd, I said it's a biocycle.
I am saying to you that once you change the economic and the social conditions of the people, there is no DNA in their system that is going to prevent them from behaving like the people in Cherry Gardens and Beverly Hills and so on. You got to recognize that. That's a classist comment that you just made a while ago. And let me just say to the lady that just spoke, right? Land is a problem because a handful of people own the majority of the land in the country, right? They own it. And so the vast majority of the people are landless. So unless you change the political system, unless you change the class system in Jamaica, then you're going to continue to have landless people. We're going to have a deficient agricultural system because people can't grow. They can't feed the people, export, and do all those kind of things. Everything has to do with class in this country, the class structure. And we have a political system which is corrupt. And let me repeat again, we are saying that the political parties are not themselves going to deal with corruption, because whether you have PNP in power or JLP in power, it is going to remain the same forever and ever and ever, because both of them are corrupt. They are committed to themselves. They are committed to the capitalist class. So if people were to say, well, boy, yes, you have a challenge in order to bring about an alternative, I can understand that. Let's go down that road. But don't make it sound like, boy, boycott is foolishness because we need PNP.
Hold on there, Lloyd.
Lloyd anymore, because they are the problem that the people face in this country.
Lloyd, hold on a minute there. Caller, you have anything more to say?
Yes, I want to correct something that Mr. de Aguilar said about behavior. What he fails to understand is that behavioral science, study of human behavior, has shown that there is a biochemical component, meaning it's part of the DNA.
But
yes, sir. So there is the DNA that influences behavior. Environment also influences behavior.
That is absolute nonsense.
Can I say something? Can I say something? Can I say something?
Hold on.
Can I say something? Can I say something?
Let's finish. Hold on. Let's finish, please.
Because them DNA.
Lloyd.
Come on.
Allow her to speak now, please.
Yeah, allow her to speak, but I'm about to speak because it's pure nonsense I'm hearing.
Would you not, you may not know this, but you probably need to speak to a behavioral scientist or someone who is a professional. I am not a behavioral scientist, but I've worked with people with abnormal behaviors. And yes, there are people who have experienced trauma and it changes their DNA. Their offsprings will have issues. Having a woman who goes through a pregnancy in a traumatic environment affects her child. You may not believe so, but it does. But that child hears what's going on in the external environment, and that child absorbs. Okay, so that is what a lot of people don't understand about the bio and the environment having an effect on your behavior.
Foolishness.
Gentle people, we need to have some order on this program.
I agree with you. But
I am not running a talk show like Donna Coronation Market.
But you must be balanced at the same time.
And I'm
You're
being
allowing him to speak
Lloyd,
more than
allow
I
her to speak, Lloyd.
Well, all right, fine, but she's talking nonsense, and I have a right to say she's talking nonsense.
Why is she talking nonsense, Lloyd?
Because what she's saying is racist.
Lloyd, that's her opinion.
That is racist. Of course, I'm sure that she's talking racism. That's what white people tell us, that they're better than we because they have a better DNA system than us. Black people are slaves. That is why we end up as slaves. That's nonsense. I hear, and get me very angry when I hear black people come on program and talk.
Yes, I will leave this program right now and listen to the rest of the panel. Listen to the panelists and see what comes of it. But Mr. de Aguilar, you are mistaken about what I've said. I don't think you understand the context. I wish I could speak to you off here so you could get what I'm saying to you. And when you are bringing up about racism and what whites have told us that we're blacks and we're deficient, I am not coming from that perspective. I am black. I am Jamaican. And you have a name that is also a white man's name, just like me. So you need to stop it and keep yourself in check about racism. What I'm talking about behavior.
White man raped my mother. And so
Lloyd. Come on now. Please.
What, you have a problem with what I'm saying?
No, but Lloyd, calm down, man.
Listen,
please.
Let me just clear up something.
A good program,
because,
Lloyd. Come on.
Let me clear up. The lady is making a solid point, and Lloyd in his East way is saying, "Oh no," and let me go there. The fact of the matter is that I have to know.
Dr. Francis.
What?
We're next call online. Caller, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jeffery.
Good afternoon, sir.
All right. I want to answer. This is the member can sell your money to that foundation.
Pardon me?
No, I want to send some money
Can you call me
to the one legal foundation.
Call me
So if you have
you, sir.
Zell.
Call me off air, sir, and I'll give it to you, sir.
Huh?
Call me off air and I'll give it to you.
All right, I'm going to call you after here.
Okay, thanks so much.
Jeffrey.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Let me just say this. Listen, Lloyd, listen. This is empirical evidence. We all go through a biopsychosocial. It's in our DNA. Let me tell you, for example, let me give you an example. You know, some people, if them smell a bottle of rum, them can drink rum all day and then don't drunk. And one person smell the bottle and then drunk. You know, that's in one's DNA. You know what I mean? So nothing wrong with that, right? It's not said that most of the killers are serial killers are, but it's a as the lady saying, it's a biopsychosocial phenomenon. We are products of our environment. At the same time, we can think about it and we can be influenced in the psychological realm. And finally, the biggest realm is environment. We learn from our environment.
So is bio DNA make black people be slaves to white people?
No.
Hold on. Is it because we are inferior to white people? Why them say, boy, make
my friend, you're talking to the wrong guy because I'm no.
Allow me now. I just allowed you. Allow me to respond to you, right? Because it's nonsense you're talking. You tell me now, the black people who become slaves to white people, it's not them DNA to be what? Slaves to white people? Come on, man.
You know something? Have you ever watched this thing called a document called The Real Eve?
Answer my question, man. Answer my question. The question is,
I'm answering your question. I'm asking.
Black people are inherently biologically superior to white people. You're not answering me.
I have a call. Hello. I have a call coming in. Hold on for me, please. I have a call coming in. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Make We Talk program.
Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Jeffrey.
Good afternoon.
And to your fellow panelists.
Yes,
I want to add my 2 cents. I want to add my 2 cents.
Go ahead.
First of all, Jeffrey, what Mark said, nothing was wrong with what Mark said. If it appears that there is nepotism and cronyism, then she should.
Hello, hold on for me, please. You are talking about Mr. Golden, what he said in the parliament.
Yes.
We spoke about that this morning. We're talking about something else. We're talking about Jamaicans boycotting the elections.
I'm getting to that.
Okay,
Jeffrey.
go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, so I'm saying I don't believe Jamaicans should boycott the election. What Jamaicans should do, we should not proceed to a general election, not knowing the illicit seat, the 21 people in Senate who are under investigation. And we cannot move forward without the Prime Minister declaring his assets and it's full time the Prime Minister stop telling the people of Jamaica that it's not his fault, it's the Integrity Commission. No, it doesn't work like that in America, England, or Canada. When it's time to file our taxes and they write to us, the burden is on us to provide them with proof, not for them.
All right, sir.
That's my two cents.
Thank you. A pleasant introduction. Welcome to the Make It Talk program. Hello?
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sister Clarion here from a New Jamaica Peace. I've been working since 2015.
From where, ma'am?
Are you hearing me?
Yes, ma'am. Where are you calling from?
Jamaica.
A New Jamaica of Peace Foundation in Arnett Gardens.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
I've been working since 2015 with the children and youth in Arnett Gardens.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm hearing Dr. Francis making mention of DNA and genetics. And I'd like to know, because he keeps using the term biosocial, but he's not relating it down to earth. He's not relating it down to earth to crime. He's not explaining what he's saying. Are you saying, Dr. Francis, that the person in Tivoli Gardens and Arnett Gardens is genetically more predisposed to committing crime than the person who we know grows in Cherry Garden who doesn't commit the crime? Are we saying it is mostly due to the person's genetics, or are we saying it is the environment?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I did try to explain it's a biopsychosocial phenomenon, which is very minute in terms of whether you're male, female, you're trans, whatever you want to be. The fact of the matter is that is very, very minute. And after
okay, so it doesn't matter then. So you're saying genetics, it doesn't play a major role in crime then?
No, genetics doesn't play a major role. When I said the mother of it is our social environment.
You didn't say that. You never said that.
That's what I said. It's a biopsychosocial phenomenon. I said, listen, man, you better stop sleeping and listening.
DNA. You never
no,
said that.
You are chatting foolishness, right? And you know it. I said it's
all right.
Gentlemen,
as long as we clear it up, we're not saying genetics is playing a major role in the crime. We're all agreed that if we take a child and put them in Tivoli Gardens or Arnett Gardens and they become a criminal, versus if we put them in Cherry Gardens and they become a criminal, we have an understanding that it's not the genetics that we're blaming, right?
Absolutely.
It's the environment and the upbringing and the values and attitudes that the child was taught.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for clarifying.
Okay.
That's what I said.
Thank you for calling in. Gentlemen, we have to conduct ourselves better than how we're conducting ourselves,
I think you're having a good program, because it's not like one person give a long half an hour speech and another person give another half an hour speech. That's the way life is. We disagree and we are emotional and we are compassionate sometimes.
But we are still friends.
We're still friends. You cannot have a discussion and have people getting angry and so on. That's normal, Jeffrey. So please.
Okay. Actually, I like Lloyd Aguilar. He knows it. I like Lloyd.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Make It Talk program. Lloyd, so we still remain friends though.
What do you mean?
We're still friends. This is normal, man. This is normal.
We're good.
One moment, I have a call coming in. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Make It Talk program.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Tavares.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm calling because I wanted to just point out a quick parallel between what the Whole Message team did in trying to get this Whole Message position approved by the PNP. He did it, Holness did it to his own people when he had just started his administration 2014 or 15 or 16. He had that Minister of Health, the man who is now Minister of Health on his team. He wanted him to sign a blank document, and that man had to fight in order to get his integrity and legally try to sue Holness because Holness wanted to get him out and also implicate him and smear him. And so that the guy who's now the Minister of Health, he had to fight because Holness wanted him to sign a blank document. So this blank document signing and this underhanded way of getting people to commit a political suicide is a ploy that he has used in the past.
Caller, with all fairness to it, the People's National Party voted for Mrs. Holness to become Speaker, ma'am.
Say that again?
With all fairness, the People's National Party voted for Mrs. Holness to become Speaker.
From what I'm learning, because I've been watching you now since I discovered you about 2 weeks ago, from what I'm learning is that some clerk or secretary gave this to one of the opposition members to sign. It wasn't a quorum of the People's National Party. Hello?
For me, please, ma'am. Let me explain something to you.
Yes, sir.
In the Westminster system that we have in Jamaica.
Yes.
In the Westminster system that we have in Jamaica. Okay?
Yes.
When they're gonna vote for a speaker, the clerk of the clerk of the House of Parliament rather, will take an instrument and hand it over to the opposition's leader of government business.
Yes.
Okay? The opposition leader of government business will say, okay, they read it and whatever. Then the vote begins. They will come out, the clerk of the parliament will come and say, they have nominated Juliet Holness for speaker. Is there any other nominee? She'll say it 3 or 4 times. When there's no other nominee, the vote begins. All right? The Parliament of Jamaica, headed by the Labour Party, has more people in the Parliament than the opposition. So even if the opposition did not vote, should have still become speaker. Whenever everything was finished and done with, the opposition person, Mr. Philip Paulwell, came and said, well, we have accepted that Mrs. Holness is the speaker.
In good faith. He thought she was going to do the objective, right?
Did you understand what I just said, ma'am?
I totally understand. Totally. Yes, sir. I'm following you.
Okay. So, whether we like it, yes or no, what is going on in the parliament is for us now, as Jamaican citizens, to demand constitutional reform. Our constitution needs to be reformed.
Yes.
And we, the people, must reform the constitution, not the 2 political parties. Okay, ma'am.
The voice of the people. Yes. I see what you're talking about. Yes.
Okay, ma'am. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for calling in.
Yes, sir. I think you're doing an excellent job because we are out in the wilderness here and we need you. So thank you, and God bless you. And I will contribute to that defense fund. Thank you.
Appreciate it, ma'am. Thank you so much. And remember, it is the Jamaica one legal. Is that how you go again, Dr. Francis?
The one Jamaica
is
one.
Is it
one Jamaica?
Is it that Jamaica? Is it that one?
One, yes. Jamaica Legal Defense Fund. Yeah. One Jamaica Legal Defense Fund.
One, the ONE or the number one?
The ONE. One Jamaica Legal Defense. If you put in Google,
okay. Thank you, sir.
Just go to Google and type in One Jamaica Legal Defense Fund.
Yes,
and you follow what's going on there, and you can contribute, and tell everybody else about it. Because
yes, I'm calling my friends. Because I live in New Jersey. Been here for 45 years. I was a teacher. I went to Michael Teachers College in Jamaica.
Yes.
And I'm dying to come back because I'm retired now. But I'm like, I can't believe what's happening.
Okay.
Michael Manley crying in his grave if we don't do something. And his father.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Thanks for calling.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Thank you.
And God bless you too, ma'am. Remember us in your prayers. Thank you.
Yes, I am. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, ma'am. Remember, my viewers and subscribers, like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go to Google and type in
One Jamaica
Legal Defense Fund. One Jamaica Legal Defense Fund. Go to Google and type in One Jamaica Legal Defense Fund and donate, donate, donate. We need a lot of contribution. $20 can help. $30 can help. Even up to $1,000, even up to $5,000 can help us. One Legal Jamaica Defense Fund. Thank you. Gentlemen, it has been an exciting afternoon. Lloyd.
Yes, sir.
The callers, anybody want to call in? The number is 954-529-8022.
I want to say though, honestly, I see Lloyd's point. But Lloyd, trust me, I'm not going to come here and pretend to mislead you or so. And I see where you're coming from, and I know where you're coming from, and I know how you feel. Honestly, I don't even have to talk to you, but I think you're passionate, and you really want to see changes in Jamaica, and I know that. And and I know, and when it comes to poor people, by the way, a lot of people think I was born with a gold spoon in my mouth. No, sir, I was a barefoot boy from Ochers, barefoot. And it was just only through Daddy Manley, as I told you, I got a scholarship. I knew it was important to go to school and so on and so forth. And I've fought all my life, military, everything, and I came out and did what I had to do during the 70s, 80s, and what have you. And for the betterment of our children. And I'm telling you, we lost when we lost with our children, because that's the way forward. And the families together. That's why when I started to have my family, I said I'll do everything possible to keep my family together, because it's so very important.
I have a next call coming in. Just a moment, please. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Mecca Talk program.
It is One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation, not funds. It is foundation.
Thank you very much, Lion.
One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation.
Foundation.
But Lion, once they put it inside, they Google it, really must go there.
No, it must be correct. Let them understand it is foundation, not funds. Yeah.
Lion, while I have you on the program here, Lion, can you tell our viewers and listeners what is the One Legal Jamaica Defense Foundation for?
It is the only real opposition that is holding the Jamaican government feet to the fire right now. Mark Golden is a sham. What he did in Parliament is a day late and it's too short. When he should have done that is when he had approved that Juliet Holness should take this. He should have walked out of Parliament then and there, talking about numbers. They didn't have the numbers. They don't have the numbers now. Or they're out on Beeson Street and Duke Street, now. They should have been there before. But because the OGLDF is doing what they should have been doing all along, the embarrassment is forcing them to play a drama as if they're in opposition to Andrew Holness. Mark Golden and Andrew Holness is working on the same team against the Jamaican people.
Thank you very much for that. Both of them there is no fundamental difference between PNP and JLP. They are committed to the same economic system. They boast about, well, even when Mark Golden gave his speech, he was reminding the JLP that they had a deal with the IMF under Peter Phillips. And under that deal, paying back the debt was most important. And so therefore they had to cut back on social investment. and they are the ones that rescued the Jamaican economy. Well, who rescued the Jamaican economy? It was poor people who rescued it, because it meant that paying back the debt. And we have to remember also that the debt is corrupt. And we have been calling for a forensic audit of the debt to find. I have sent ATI requests to the Ministry of Finance. Can you tell me who are the people who get paid the $300-400 billion each year of debt payment, local and international? And they refuse to tell us who are the people who are receiving a third or two-thirds of the budget each year. And so we can do an investigation and find out what did they lend the money to the government for? What did the government use the money for? For example, the Inter-American Development Bank has loaned Jamaica millions and millions of US dollars. But guess what? Most of that funding goes through the office of the Prime Minister. It goes through the office of the Prime Minister. And when you ask the Auditor General, did you do an audit of the millions of dollars that were loaned to the office of the Prime Minister? She didn't do no audit. It was a private auditor that did an audit of one loan, etc., etc. It is all chaos, and the system works together to protect one another. And we, the people, don't know what is going on. We need transparency, and we need to advocate, and we don't expect transparency from PNP or JLP, because both of them, when it's their time to speak in Parliament, are going to tell you, well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. But they do absolutely nothing. And we have to live with that. And so that is why we keep on advocating for a people's alternative. Because if the people don't organize themselves and develop a way of expressing themselves and making demands, then we are going to be entrapped by PNP and JLP, two corrupt political parties and a corrupt political system. We have the Integrity Commission. At the head of the Integrity Commission is Mr. Greg Christie. When he was in the office of the Contractor General, everybody loved Greg Christie because he was very forthright, and he would expose and he would criticize and educated us all. Now that the OCG has now become the Integrity Commission, they have revamped it in a kind of way in which the Integrity Commission can't tell you anything more, anything publicly about what they have investigated and what they have discovered about corrupt politicians and corrupt individuals. And that is why they can't tell us who are the 6 corrupt members of Parliament who are involved in illicit enrichment. And so therefore, even Greg Christie is compromised by it. And he's not the same Greg Christie that he was under the Office of the Contractor General. And every aspect of the system that you investigate, everybody is compromised from the top to the bottom. And we need to change that system. We have to develop a movement that is going to deal with this corruption business. I think in the history of Jamaica, many politicians have been accused of corruption. Some of them have had to resign. They reassign them, put them in this ministry or that ministry. But I think it's only 2 of them that have ever gone to any kind of prison system or put on trial. None of them. That has never happened. Even the minister, the former Minister of Education, Mr. Ruel Reid, he is now before the courts for corruption. But guess what? He's a money man. And he knows how to exploit the legal system. And he's going to exploit it for as long as possible. And if you ever hear that him get convicted, boy, I'm telling you, that would be something very unusual. So we have to understand how corrupt, how deeply corrupt the system is. And so therefore, as some of the listeners come in and they say, boy, we don't believe in the boycott business, you have to understand that it's either PNP or JLP. If you don't want wholeness, then you're going to get Mark Golding. And if you get Mark Golding, there's no difference between Mark Golding and Andrew Holness. So we have to begin to think along alternative lines to the political system. We are not saying that we are ready, that we have all the answers, but we need to have the discussion as to how we can work together to build an alternative movement to what exists. What we propose will not always be perfect, but at least we have to begin to go down that road.
If I can interrupt you, I know you probably have a lot more to say, but if I may interrupt you, I want to ask a question. If Rattigan, I'm talking Wilfred Rattigan, because people is not talking about the lion in the room. If he had, say, 3 persons in parliament with himself, as member of the Senate also, what do you think he could have achieved in 8 years as an opposition, given the fact that he is now remote in the United States, he's not in the parliament, yet the international community as well as the domestic community is now fully educated as to what their rights are and how they can go about by litigation, by protest, by background check, and hold these people accountable. Mark Golding has failed miserably. I can't understand why the public is patting on his shoulders that are so weak and fragile to corruption. What do you think Rattigan would have done?
Let me just make a quick
in that short space of time. That's a question that I will ask in general to the public and even to the panel.
Let me just make a quick comment on Mark Golding, for example. Mark Golding is one of the richest politicians in the parliament right now. But remember, you know, that before he became an MP, he and Peter Bunting had a company called Daring Bunting and Golding, right? And with Omar Davies, they got a big deal and they make a sweetheart deal and they make tons of money out of the people of Jamaica by the sweetheart deal that they had with Omar Davies. And then they were able to establish Proven, and Proven is now a big, big company in Jamaica. When investigative journalists try to find out the structure of Proven and what is the relationship between Holding and Proven, you can't get no information, right? They hide it from you, but take it from me. Mark Golding is a big, big capitalist and a big thing, and his origins into Proven, whatever the relationship, is because he had a sweetheart deal with Omar Davis's then Minister of Finance. So none of them is perfect. All of them are tainted. Prime Minister is tainted, the leader of the opposition is tainted, and there are politicians across both sides that are tainted. And we need an investigation, we need a forensic audit, and so we need to determine the corruption, how it works, and if them for go to prison, they must go to prison. That is what we need.
Understand, my brother. Hear this. Now you can see why they are drawing a red herring across the trail. Because the Magnitsky Act is going to hold both of them accountable. Why? They are both involved, and I'm saying both political parties are deeply entrenched in corruption. And it cannot be disputed. Anybody does that, even a diehard, is a liar from the pit of hell. Nobody in their sound mind can say that the two parties are not deeply entrenched in corruption. And if that is the case, they are wanting to distract the public from what the LDF is doing right now in terms of shedding the spotlight on the corruption at a level where they can be held accountable, bundled in handcuffs, visas taken away, and their assets frozen.
And that is why
Lion. That's why you distract the public from.
Yes, and that is why Lion, when you have programs like the Make We Talk program and Rizzy Rattigan, who's trying to educate the people of Jamaica, you know, and we keep on saying to the people all over that what you all need to do is to rally around a single cause and a single purpose. And also educate yourself by going to Google. You have a smartphone, go to Google and Google things that we say. If you don't believe us, go and Google things that we say. The Make We Talk program is a program that we try to assist, just like Richard Rattigan. We try to educate the people. So go behind the One Legal Defense Foundation and donate as much as you can. The money don't belong to neither me, Wilfred Rattigan, Herb Nelson Jr., Dr. Rupert Francis, or even Lion Who's Calling. It is to assist in legal fees to hold the Jamaican government accountable for the level of corruption that they're going on within the country.
They're actually throwing out these little scandals to distract the public's attention from the fact that it's the first time in Jamaica's history where Jamaican government is held accountable to the extent that they are forced to respond. Right now, they are so nervous, they send this imbecile of a minister, not him personally, he might be a very educated person, right? Information minister. But I said imbecile of a minister because his office is atrocious in the way that he represents it, to come and attack the integrity of Wilfred Rattigan and therefore the old JLDF, who is representing the diaspora. And now he's in hot water. That's a move of desperation. We have to realize that Jamaica people have them on the run because of the activities of the diaspora in association with persons of right mind in the Jamaican domestic community. They are on the run. Let us not be distracted by these little scandals and who kill who and who murder and wife and all those things. They are highlighting it. You and I would never know about it if the OJLDF wasn't so vigilant in exposing these things. And it's not just the Jamaican media that is totally incapable and totally without any ability to produce any fruit of information, because they're also having their snouts in the trough. And they're part and parcel of the problem. No, we have taken it to the international community. Now they're forced to respond. Whenever Wilfred Rattigan sends an ATI, they better respond. They better respond, and they know. Now let us go with what is working. That's what I would recommend. And forget about the hype that they're trying to create. Local government election, distraction. Murder scandal, distraction. Walk out of parliament when you don't agree before to have the lady in the seat, in the position. You are part of that same threat to democracy by the very fact that you approved her going there. Now you're coming and balling out. You're throwing stone and you're living in glass house.
Hold on for me.
You're a political leader.
Hold on for me, Lion. Hold on for me a minute. I don't normally delete people from my platform. And I try not to. But Louis, or whatever your name is, you have been coming on this platform for many times now, and you keep on doing the same thing over and over again. I will delete you if you continue. Do not come on this platform and disrespect anybody on this platform. You can go to any other Lala platform and do it. Not on this one, please. And if you continue, I'm going to delete you. Go ahead for me, Lion.
Yes. Yeah, the leaders, they're going to embarrass their diehard supporters. I'm talking about JLP and PMP leaders. Because you don't see scandals yet. Right now, everybody's jumping ship because they realize it's all about me time now, because the ship is going down. Everybody's scurrying and see what they can get to carry out, because they know that when Wilfred Rattigan says he's going to do something, he's not a politician that he should forget or call a promise, a commitment. He's going to do it. And once that is so, they better get out. So a lot of switching is going on in both parties right now. And you're going to see them start exposing each other left and right. But let them be reminded that we give out a call. We welcome all whistleblowers. All whistleblowers. Come with the valid information you have that can further bolster and substantiate the claim of outright corruption that is being made to the international arena and the local conscience of the Jamaican people.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Yes, Lloyd, have something to say?
Yeah, can I just say that the People's Anti-Corruption Movement has a petition online, and we are calling on people to sign it because we are calling upon the government to end diplomatic relations with Israel. And we would really like people to go on change.org, look up People's Anti-Corruption Movement. You will see our petition, and you would love for you to sign it, because that is part of the corruption that exists in the political structure as well. Not only is the government not condemning the genocide in Israel, that Israel is committed against the Palestinians, the PNP is also not condemning Israel directly for the genocide that is being committed, even though they support South Africa. But there is a special relationship between the Prime Minister, between the government and the government of Israel. And it has to do with national security. It has to do with artificial intelligence. And we wonder whether they are gathering intelligence on the people, on the organizations, etc. And so therefore, we are not only calling for the ending of diplomatic relations with Israel because of the genocide that is being committed against the Palestinians, but we are also calling for the government to make public the national security arrangement that they have with Israel. I remember sometime, maybe it's around 2017 or so, after, Holness went to Israel and he had a meeting, a hug up, kiss up meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu, etc. Jamaica did not vote against Israel in several United Nations resolutions, etc. He was challenged in the parliament by Peter Bunting, who said, "What is the national security agreement that you have?" And he said, "That is a national security matter. We can't discuss it publicly. So come to me privately and we can have a discussion." Well, Mr. Bunting has since been asked by investigative journalists, did you take up that offer and did you go to the Prime Minister and ask him about the national security agreement which you have with Israel? And he said, no, he didn't do that. So once again, both sides are so compromised. They're not dealing with the issues. And so it's only the people that have the power to make these kinds of demands upon the system. So we have this petition out there, and we are going to start having placard protests in front of appropriate ministries demanding an end to diplomatic relations with Israel. We have to make that point, because if we don't make that point, what it means is that in 2010, the government committed a massacre against the people in Tivoli Gardens. Mr. Holness was a member of the cabinet that passed the state of emergency regulations, right? And he now is the prime minister. He's hugging up and kissing up with Benjamin Netanyahu. And so therefore, we have to, make our voices be heard and say, listen, we can't just go down that road, because if we go down that road, you could have the same kind of massacre taking place in Jamaica, and it's normal. And we don't want Israel to know, so, well, Mr. Holness supported us when we were massacring the people in Gaza, so we are now going to support you when you committing that massacre in Jamaica. No, that has to stop. Yes.
We want to say thanks to everyone for coming on. Thanks to Lloyd de Aguilar, Dr. Rupert Francis, head of the Jamaican Crime Diaspora The Jamaica.
That's for crime intervention and prevention task force.
Thank you very much for coming on. I'm so tired. I need
That's
to
all right. That's all right. I understand.
Lloyd, human rights activist, continue the good work, my friend. Thanks for coming on. Join us this evening at 3 o'clock when we come to you live from the Parliament of Jamaica to listen to the budget debate of what the Prime Minister is saying. Is it that Mr. Golden will walk out? We don't know. We'll see that. So join us at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock Jamaica time, 3 o'clock US time to see if Mr. Golden will walk out of the Parliament. I want to say thanks everyone for coming on. Thanks you very much for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Make We Talk Jeffery Tavares YouTube channel. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Goodbye, my friend.
When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend. Make we talk.